Have you ever wondered what's in a bus ride? It's more than the frenzy of thousands of buses circling around Jakarta, or hundreds of roads that span the entire city. It's not just about integrated fleets, which will connect you to different destinations, or hundreds of bus stops scattered on every street. It's also not just about officers, drivers, even mechanics, who always strive to provide the best services. This is beyond technology and innovation that are constantly designed, implemented, and developed so that every trip feels easier without having to disturb the environment. For behind every journey, a community is built. Distances are connected and opportunities are created. This is about inclusivity, where the entire Transjakarta fleet is entitled to be enjoyed by everyone. And no matter where it goes, no one will be left behind. This is what behind every bus trip. Every bus station building ecosystem that breathes life into Jakarta's economy. Every route connecting different lives and experience together. Every technology and innovation opens easy access for all people. Every services ensure the passengers feel safe and comfortable, whether they are traveling far or near. And every electric bus this is deployed provides space for Jakarta to breathe fresh air again. We at Transjakarta are proud to be part of DKI Jakarta provincial government in an effort to build integrated transportation services that make life easier and happier in the city of Jakarta. We believe in every journey we can bisa, happy to work, innovative, passion for excellence and high trust bisa to advance the city of Jakarta. Because we adhere to one principle and one purpose, namely connecting the life of Jakarta. Transjakarta bisa.
Jakarta, a city with endless investment opportunities. ambitious center of government and business activities. A city ready to serve as an economic and geographic hub for world markets. As our dreams soar as high as skyscrapers, we take pride in being part of the metropolitan's infrastructure expansion. Embracing modern living, embracing strength, reassurance, and security to drive growth and sustainability. Explore pure, untouched landscapes, only one step away from our water's edge. Rekindle the community spirit with various child and adult-friendly activities. Interconnecting people and places, transforming capacity development through the collaboration of public and private sectors. With the population structure's productive age majority coming from substantial education backgrounds, trained to serve as qualified human resources and serving on the front line of administration, assisted by one-stop integrated service facilities, providing easier permit and licensing applications. Jakarta, a city with advantages like no other, where the past isn't left behind, the present embracing its roots, knocking on future's door, dressed in heritage and legacy. With more than 10.4 million inhabitants, Jakarta is the most promising place for you to invest. It is the largest city in ASEAN, with a rapidly growing middle class with high purchasing power. Jakarta is now listed as a prospective investment destination in the world, one of the most preferred places for business investments. Join the world's large emerging market. Make investment choices as winning strategy.
Come and grow with Jakarta, smart city, smart
Ladies and
opportunities.
gentlemen, we will commence the program shortly. Therefore, we would like to take this opportunity to remind you of the following housekeeping measures. Kindly follow appropriate health and safety protocols, such as always wear a mask, wash your hands regularly, or apply hand sanitizer frequently,
Kota
and
ini
keep a safe
adalah
distance.
rumah.
All crews and talents involved in this program have followed strict health protocols and
Jutaan
obtained
cerita
negative
ada di
COVID-19
sini.
test result. Before the event start, I would like to invite you to be
Keberagaman
seated. You may
bukan
find
halangan,
our
melainkan
ushers are ready
simbol
to guide you
persatuan.
to your seating. Your cooperation is
Semua
appreciated.
warga setara. Ruang ketiga hadir di setiap sudutnya. Tempat interaksi warga tanpa memandang siapa mereka.
Jakarta Investment Center has served more than 50 project facilitations, ranging from infrastructure, transportation, water management, and environmental sector. Through a one-stop integrated services, we provide easier permit and licensing application for you to grow your business. Jakarta Investment Center is ready to serve you in making your investment process hassle-free.
As the largest metropolitan region in the Southern Hemisphere, Jakarta is and will remain as Indonesia's economic powerhouse. With a suite of professionals from multiple levels of Jakarta's provincial government, the Jakarta Investment Committee specializes in formulating policy solutions that are genuinely win-win for all stakeholders.
Jakarta Investment Center and Jakarta Investment Committee were established by the Jakarta Capital City Government together with Bank Indonesia as a regional investor relation unit. We strive to actively communicate regional economic policy and address the concern of investors, especially in terms of financial and investment climate. Together, we are committed to optimize investment growth across Jakarta. And we are excited to do more.
By working together with you
In building a better Jakarta. Come and grow with Jakarta.
Invest now, invest Jakarta.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prita Laura. I will be moderating for the next discussion. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we just see a glimpse of how Jakarta has been actively promoting green investment initiative in Jakarta through Jakarta Investment Center and Komite Investasi Jakarta. Jakarta Investment Center and Komite Investasi Jakarta strong effort has resulted in numerous collaboration with global counterparts. Jakarta Investment Center and Komite Investasi Jakarta are ready to serve you, potential investor, in making your investment process hassle-free. That's the key message, hassle-free. Yeah, before we start our discussion, I see many empty chair. Would you like to come forward, because you may sit at the empty chair at the front, so we can have a discussion, and you can because very interesting discussion after this. Yeah, we would like to invite you to sit at the front empty chair. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for your cooperation. Thank you. Yes, please, would you mind to join at the front? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, this discussion also you can see in the YouTube and Zoom. It will be not nice, yeah, if we see empty chair, yeah, in this discussion. Yeah, please join us at the front empty chair. You may sit it. Yeah, thank you. All right, good afternoon, excellencies, distinguished delegates, investor, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prita Laura, and I will be your moderator for today thematic discussion with theme very interesting, increasing Jakarta resilience through a sustainable food system. A very warm welcome to excellencies, all distinguished panelists and distinguished guests, investor, and also participant. We appreciate you for taking time off your schedule to join us today. And for your information that this event is live streamed through Zoom virtual meeting and broadcasted at the Pemprov DKI Jakarta YouTube channel and Layanan Jakarta YouTube channel. Yeah. And in the midst of the global, about the discussion later, We know that in the midst of the global transition, the ability of each country resilience system has been on the edge. The dynamic of social and economic recovery had caused food supply chain disruption around the world. Amid heightened concern about global climate change, it has become an obligation for a country to establish a sustainable food system to mitigate the instability of food commodity price globally. Food security exists when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food which meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. Based on a global food security index, Indonesia's situation has improved from 2015 to 2021, which was previously ranked 75, and increased to 63 currently out of 113 countries. Let's give a big applause to our country then. Okay. Thank you. And the local government is striving to improve the country's ability by strengthening the role of each city regionally in cultivating its own food resources in order to eradicate social inequality, poverty, and hunger in the future. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome on the stage our distinguished speaker. And first, I would like to welcome the distinguished speaker, Ms. Sri Haryati, as an assistant to the Provincial Secretary for Economic and Finance. Please welcome Ms. Sri Haryati. Dr. Sri Haryati is the Assistant to the Provincial Secretary for Economy and Finance in the Office of the Governor of Jakarta. In this role, she assists the City Secretary in coordinating the formulation of policies on economic affairs and finance. With more than 20 years of experience working as a civil servant for the city administration, her expertise range from financial and asset management, taxes, tourism, transportation, trade and industry, SMEs, investment, and the management of city-owned enterprise. Dr. Haryati was previously assigned as Head of Economic Affairs Bureau from 2016 to 2019 and held managerial position in different departments. Let's give applause once again to Ms. Sri Haryati. And the next speaker, we would like to invite Mr. Putut Jagiri as a Senior Vice President and Head of Corporate Finance, Java Tbk. Yeah. Mr. Putut Jagiri has been working at Java for 20 years, many experience, and for the last 5 years, he did a lot of corporate action related to ESG, with most recent corporate action, issue sustainability linked bond in 2021 and sustainability linked loan in 2022. Interesting, about sustainability. And our next speaker, I would like to welcome Mr. Rajendra Aryal as the Country Director of Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO for Indonesia. Please welcome. And Mr. Rajendra Aryal is appointed as FAO representative in Indonesia and Timor-Leste in the mid-August 2021. He has nearly 26 years of work experience that also includes his experience with public and private sectors. Prior to his current appointment, he was FAO representative in Afghanistan since September 2018, and he was the Senior Program Advisor for Resilience Building in FAO Emergency Operation Division in Rome, Italy from 2015 to September 2018. Yeah, Mr. Rajendra Aryal. Yeah, I already practiced before. It's not Rahendra. Yeah, if Indonesia will be Rahendra, he said, but his name is Rajendra. Okay, the next speaker we have, and I would like to invite to the stage Mr. Raditya Endra Budiman as the President Director of PD Dharma Jaya. Mr. Raditya Endra Budiman, he completed his education at the Faculty of Business Law, Trisakti University. After completing his undergraduate education, he continued his study at the University of the New South Wales Commercial Law Program. He has work experience in the field of legal consultant. He has served as President Director at PT Eco Securities Indonesia and President Director at PT B Food Indonesia. He currently serves as the President Director of PD Dharma Jaya since August 2019. Yeah, before we start, let's give applause once again to the speaker here. Yeah, for the first presentation, I would like to invite Ms. Sri Haryati for your presentation. You have 10 minutes for your presentation. Please welcome to the stage. Please welcome to the podium. And I would like to remind you that we have reminder of time, at this screen, Thank you. Please welcome Ms. Sri Haryati.
Thank you, Mbak Prita, for the nice introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a great opportunity for me to meet all of you at the Jakarta Investment Center, and also for the all speaker. And we just know that Mr. Putut is the same alumni with me, and we just reunited just a while. And all participants who joined this discussion. Maybe we can start with the slide. As we know today, the world is facing the complex issues. We know as a 3F: food, fuel, and finance. First, food crisis, and second is the fuel crisis, and the last one is the financial crisis. And when we talk about the food crisis, Jakarta is a consumer city. It's about 98% that food in Jakarta is come from the other side of Jakarta, from the regional, from the other provinces, and also from the imported product. Therefore, that Jakarta has to pay attention to that issue, because we realize that if the prices of the food is increased and also the energy as well, it can be contribute the highest to the inflation rate in Jakarta. In this opportunity, let me share for all of you about four issues. The first, we want to talk about the food security situation in the world, and also the challenges that we face, because we know that it's not only about the COVID-19 pandemic area, but also from the global conflict situation. And then the second, we want to share also about the supply and demand policy in Jakarta. And then we will talk also about the program such as food subsidy program and also urban farming program. And the last one, we want to share to all of you about our future strategy plan to improve our regulation for a better food supply chain system. Next slide, please. Let me talk about the condition of the food security situation at the present. According to the FAO reports in 2022, the challenges to ending hunger, food insecurity, and all form of malnutrition keep growing. And I think Pak Putut will explain more detail about that issues. And also, if we read in the IMF World Economic Outlook research on July 2022, global inflation has been revised due to food and energy prices and also supply-demand imbalance. What inflation is expected to increase from 4.7% last year to 8.3% this year. I think it's very frightening condition for all of us. And global food prices are on increasing trend this year, higher than last year. The main source of the global food price inflation is the prices of the cereals such as wheat, the conflict in Europe as well, and also the export restriction in the several countries. And for low-income countries, demand where food represents a bigger portion of the consumption are getting the impact of this inflation. Next, please. And now we want to talk about the supply and demand policy in the Jakarta. Jakarta is a consumer city that I mentioned before. For example, if we talk about the rice, in Jakarta we need like more than 3,000 tons a day. It's a daily need of Jakarta. And when we talk about the meat, it's about 165 tons our meat need daily in Jakarta. It's a big number. That's why for Jakarta, it's very important to make a good supply and demand policy of food to meet the Jakarta food need. And then, as Governor mentioned before, to reach the target or many sectors, including the food, we have two hands. One is from the bureaucracy, through we have the Food Security, Agriculture, and Marine Agency, and the second hand is with the state-owned company. And for the food sector, we have 3 companies, Food Station, and Dharma Jaya, Pak Radit, and also Pasar Jaya that responsible for distribution. And then we divided two hand of the governor of the government city. We divide for the bureaucracy side, they focus on to make a demand side. We known as neraca bahan pangan. It's like a seat for balancing for the food security. The agency, the Food Security Agency, make demand how many the need for the kind of food priority, and then the second hand is the state-owned company. They focus on to sourcing for the supply of the food. And one of interesting for Jakarta, we not only just concerned about the how to fulfill our need, but also we concerned about how to manage inflation not only in Jakarta, but also for the all provinces, city in the Indonesia. And the contribution for the Jakarta inflation is about 27% for the Indonesian inflation. So it's very, it's our responsible to make Jakarta inflation stable because it's very effective for the national as a whole. So we have a system we name like information food security information system. Our idea is not only just we have a threat with other provinces, but in that system we can know the province around Jakarta can input the surplus of their food. So our set-on company just trade the surplus of the food in the other province. Is to make that all of the provinces can manage the inflation. We can go to the slide 5. Our priority program for the food, the name is Food Subsidy Program. We also pay attention to vulnerable people by giving subsidized program to keep their purchasing power. For this year, we have 1.1 million beneficiaries, and there's some of a product such as chicken, and then eggs, beef, milk. Yeah, all the supplies come from our own Jakarta on state company. And then, for example, like a meat, the economic price of the meat is maybe now is like 130,000, but the vulnerable people just pay 35,000 rupiahs, and the gap pay by the government, and also for the other product. And this program not only to fulfill the need for the high protein, for the good health, but also to manage to make the stabilize of the inflation. And then the other priority for concerning the food supply is urban farming. Now, Jakarta has a large urban agriculture design from 2018 to 2030 to fulfill food need, improve the economy, preserve the environment, and also public education programs. Based on the initiative that have been carried out by many parties in Jakarta and the availability of space and location, based on data collection carried together, it was agreed that there are 7 priority space targets for the development of urban farming in Jakarta. We know the limit of land, so we work for the urban farming and the flat, like a rumah susun, and also in the balcony, in the top of the floor of the building, and also for all space that can be used for the plan to urban farming.
Bu Sri, I'm sorry, I have to remind you about the time. Your time is up.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And then one thing, maybe the last concern that I want to say is very important to make a cooperation between provinces, and also cooperation and consultation with the national level. Now, to make source for the food security, we work together with the Agriculture Ministry, and then also with the other, like a Bulog and Badan Pangan Nasional, and also for all of the stakeholders that concerning for the food security. And we realized that we can face it together, just the government side, and we have to collaborate with all of the stakeholders. I think that's all for our presentation, and we invite all of you in all of the sector to work together with me to make sure that inflation in Jakarta can stable, and also to food security in Jakarta. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Ibu Sri, I heard before that you have a chit chat with the audience that you already choose. You may have the chit chat. I heard that you will have a conversation with the audience before. Oh, already, yeah. Okay then. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Sri Haryati, for your insightful presentation about. I want to emphasize about we need cooperation between stakeholders for food security. That will be our goal for discussion today. And the next speaker, we have Mr. Putut Jagiri as a SVP and Head of Corporate Finance Java Tbk. The floor is yours. Let's we give a big applause to Mr. Putut Jagiri.
Thank you very much, Prita, for the introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, all the speakers. And also very happy to meet with Ibu Sri Haryati. Actually, we are same alumnus from the university. And just now, Bu Sri Haryati talking about the food safety, food security in Jakarta, and talking about the food supply in Jakarta, and talking about meat supply in Jakarta. And I'm represent the meat suppliers in Jakarta, Bu Sri Haryati. So we are from Java Confit, Indonesia. Java Confit Indonesia actually is the supplier or the provider, the producer of meat in Indonesia. We are one of the largest until today, and also we are maybe the largest supplier from the private sector of the meat product in Jakarta, because our business is mainly work with mainly in poultry. Poultry means we produce chicken and ducks. So if you have lunch today, maybe possible that the chicken is come from our companies. And if you eat like duck, like maybe Bebek Tepi Sawah or another duck restaurant, possible is from our company. And also we produce and supply of fish and shrimp. We have big farm in tilapia in Toba Lake in North Sumatra, and then we export all this product to US and Japan. And also we have produce of shrimp fries to help the farmers to build, to operate their farming or tambak in all over Indonesia. So in terms of size, maybe we can imagine that our company, Java, is produce almost 1 billion chicken a year. So that's why if you eat chicken in Kentucky, McDonald's, maybe possible is from Java. Next please. Next slide, please. We are operate since 1971 until today. One thing that we make our sustainable for the almost more than 50 years is that our sustainability philosophy, like I think Bu Sri Haryati and Prita just mentioned about collaboration. We work this thing since 71. Our philosophy is growing toward mutual prosperity. It means, simple thing is mean in Indonesia is we call it berkembang menuju kesejahteraan bersama. Or with simple word, we trying to make everybody happy. That's why if you look at our logo in under 2000 year, look at on the presentation, it's like this. It represents happy man. So we're trying to make everybody happy, all the stakeholders, include shareholders, supplier, employee, government, of course, in DKI especially, and then also the local communities. So that's us, and we are trying to do all with our sustainability program in our company. Next, please. So we have this thing in what we call it Java Sustainability Pillars. We have trying to do, first pillar is efficient on our production system, and then we also have people development and improving nutrition. This one is that we are trying to support the community in Jakarta. We're trying to improve our improving the nutrition. Next, I think we jump to slide 6. After this slide, next please. Yeah. When we talking about supply to Jakarta, is like as you know, like urban, big metropolitan city. We deal with many type of customer, many type of demand, many type of demand and customer that fall all over preference. So we call it, the one challenge is that the people, mostly in like in Jakarta, not only demand or not only want the tasty food, tasty chicken meat or tasty beef or tasty fish, but also healthy. That's why our company make a program, run a program to mitigate it, to fulfill that demand with a program they call Safe from Farm to Table. It means that we are trying to make cleanliness in our farms. If you look at the first on the right side is our farm. We're trying to make cleanliness in our farm. Even we also manage our animal welfare, our animal healthiness, and as our motto, we also try to make our chicken, our fish, our beef happy to make a good production. And then on the slaughterhouses, I think slaughterhouses is somewhere for Jakarta's supply somewhere in Tangerang. So we're trying to make it cleanliness. And for the distribution, for our store, and also until the customer, until all ladies and gentlemen here to eat in the table, we're trying to manage the cleanliness, start from the farm until on your table. That's our program to make our safety and cleanness of our and security of our food. Next, please. The second one that the challenge is the demand, the consumption. The consumption of our product, that is meat, beef, and fish, and I think especially in chicken meat, the consumption is still very low today. Nationwide, the consumption is around 8 to 9 kg per capita, per person per year. If we make it simple, I think almost average Indonesian people only eat chicken, half chicken a month. Of course, in Jakarta, like urban, more than that. But still is quite low compared to like in Malaysia, in Singapore, that they already eat more than 40 kilos per year. So that's the challenge to increase the food consumption, because of course protein is really need as a balanced diet for the people. So one thing that we trying to do is cutting distribution channel. Means that we're trying to make it shorter the distribution between our farms to the customer. What we did, I will explain you on the next slide. The second one is restaurant innovation. Mean that we must. So sorry, we trying to create a lot of products, even give the innovation. Even we help the restaurant in Jakarta, we have some idea about the menu, about the recipe. We work with all the chefs that create a lot of product, a lot of menu and recipe with our product, and we share it to the restaurant as our customer. The other one is value added and product diversification. We created a lot of product value added like nuggets, sauces, and everything that healthy and will fulfill all the demand of this protein. And of course, like Bu Haryati today said that government and stakeholder have a lot of like the one that subsidize in meat and also in chicken meat. So the next one, please. Next slide, please. What we did in Jakarta is also in other country, but starting in Jakarta, we start a platform that we call it Java-based food solution. So we're not only supplying food, but also supplying the solutions to the customer, B2B customer like restaurant, catering, even for the housewife that need how to cook the product, what is the recipe good, like. We're trying to give all these solutions to make all these businesses is growing, and all with their growing, we're also growing. This called Java-based food solution. We do it online. our platform online, and we serve for the B2B or B2C customer. For the best meat platform, we do online and offline. So around in Jakarta, Bu Haryati, we make small store. We support the small business, small store of chicken meat or beef or all the product store everywhere in Jakarta by doing franchising or by doing our own. And we train all the franchisee to do this, to run the meat store business.
Pak Putu, I'm sorry, I have to remind you.
That's it. That's it, Prita. Is on
it.
time.
Wow.
Yeah. This
Just
is
right
what
on time.
this is what we want to share about what we did to support the food safety, food security, and also to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 2, that is zero hunger. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this opportunity. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Putut Jagiri. Thank you for your presentation. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, the data about every human in Indonesia only eat half chicken a month. Yeah. Wow, interesting. Yeah, we need to improve protein consumption for better quality of Indonesian human resources. And next we have Mr. Rajendra Aryal as the Country Director of Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations FAO for Indonesia. The podium is yours.
Good afternoon. I hope this works. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Jakarta Investment Forum, for inviting me. I would like to talk about urban food system a bit, giving the global perspective and try to see like what we are doing in Asia and how we can connect it with Indonesia. Why do we need to work in the cities? If you see the statistics, 50% of the world population lives in urban area, which is expected to rise to 68% by 2050. 80% of the total energy is consumed in urban cities. And 70% of the food supply is consumed by the cities. So this gives the importance, this gives the gravity. Why is it important to have this urban food system strengthened? And COVID pandemic was a big wake-up call for all of us. Ibu Haryati, you talked about climate change, pandemic, also the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Yes, definitely. These are having big impacts on urban food system all over the world. But COVID-19 pandemic imposed a lot of other restrictions, such as restrictions on movements, losing the job, closing of businesses. And that really led us to rethink how the food supply chain, the food provision from production centers to to urban and peri-urban areas need rethinking. And the pandemic also raised the issues of food regulation, standards, and food market infrastructure adjustments. So basically, we had to rethink both on the operational side and the policy side. And that's where the urban agriculture, local food production, and sort value chains to improve access to food among the urban poor has emerged as one of the top priorities, one of the top policy priorities. And this whole urban food governance requires the policies, the regulations, the required infrastructure support for sustainable urban development. And Ibu Haryati, you mentioned about 3F, food, finance, and fuel. I would add 2F, 2 more Fs. One is feed, animal feed, and one is fertilizer. These are critical for production. And this is what we learned over the years. As FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, as we saw the necessity to work with the urban centers, we have come up with different initiatives, achieving sustainable food systems program, the urban food agenda, and the green cities initiative. There are some publications that FAO has already made, and I would like to talk a little bit about urban food systems here. Green cities initiative. So basically this Green Cities initiative, there are 3 building blocks. One is about urban and peri-urban agriculture, another is urban and peri-urban forestry, and third is urban food systems. This morning we heard from Pa Anis what Jakarta is doing also on the urban forestry side, and also recently, Ibu, you mentioned also about what Jakarta is saying. Actually, if you look at these 3 building blocks, that are the elements, major element of the Green Cities initiative to build a well-being of urban dwellers and resilient cities to shock. We always have the notion of leaving no one behind. And whenever there's a shock, we always find that the most vulnerable people living in the cities, even in the rural areas, face the brunt. So we need to ensure that whenever we design some implementation arrangement or operational arrangement plus policies, we need to make sure that no one is left behind. And this Green Cities initiative, at the moment, we are working with 100 cities, and the target is to work with 1,000 cities by 2030. And this initiative can cover the metropolitan cities like Jakarta, intermediary cities, and small cities. And this morning, I also remember the mayor of Rotterdam. He said, we need ideas. If we have ideas, probably we can have access to funding. But for priorities, because the limited funding cannot be used for everything. But given the importance, unfortunately, he's not there. Actually, I was about to ask him if we can work even with Rotterdam municipality to see how we can link this type of work with Jakarta. So there are 3 major elements of the Green Cities initiatives. School feeding, making sure that the children living in urban and peri-urban areas have access to school feeding. The food waste, as we can see, Jakarta is one of the cities that is having a lot of food waste. Many other metropolitan cities have this problem. I'm not talking about food loss, it's just food waste at consumption level. We can see that in food courts, also in the malls. And the urban and peri-urban forestry. These are also elements which are essential for climate risk mitigation, watershed protection, human health and well-being, and green economy. Just one example I would like to bring. FAO is working with the municipality of Dhaka. Dhaka is a city with 22 million people, slightly in population bigger than Jakarta, but a lot of similar characteristics. It's a project funded by the Dutch government, $12.5 million. And the project has, the 6 components: reducing nutrition and food insecurity, upgrading fresh markets, reducing food loss and waste, improving food safety and consumer awareness, strengthening food value chain, and strengthening food system planning and governance. Sorry, I think it's a little bit difficult to read, but if you see some of the major achievements developed or major activities carried out under this project: 1 million people reached on social media platforms, 950 slum dwellers received urban gardening and nutrition awareness training, 236 market committee members, and it goes on. And there are some pilots made under this project, such as a farmers market, providing fresh, local, organic, and chemical-free produce. And in Indonesia, FAO is working with the growing urban areas and the vulnerabilities of the food system to COVID-19 pandemic shocks are prioritized. Also, the need to promote urban farming and gardening. And at the moment, we are working with Bogor and South Tangerang cities. The project is called Support to Promote Policy Coherence for Safe, Reliable, and Resilient Urban Food System in Post-COVID Environment. And basically, we are working on strengthening the urban food governance process for improved urban agriculture, food and nutrition program, initiatives for enhanced food security, safe and healthy diets in post-COVID environment. And just the key highlights of this project: there are 4 blocks: intermediary cities, which are key players for promoting food system transformation, reduce poverty, and promote sustainable agriculture. Policy action to promote multi-sectoral, multi-level, and multi-actor coordination. Food governance mechanism to link cities and operate along the rural-urban continuum. And national to local governments gap addressed through urban food policy framework. With this, I would like to request, thank you very much. We have a small video. I think I still have 1.5 minutes. That
Yes.
video will go for 1.5 minutes.
Wow.
So
Exact
if
time.
we can play that video, please.
Where are we heading? If we rethink our cities, we can reshape our future. Cities have huge potential to provide a healthy, productive environment for all who live and work in them. But cities as we know them are wasteful and often disconnected from the rural areas that sustain them. Cities house 55% of the world's population. They produce 70% of global waste and use 80% of our planet's energy. By 2050, nearly 70% of the world's population will be living in a city. The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed the fragility of our agri-food systems. So how do we build better? By strengthening rural-urban innovation, we can develop new ways to grow and consume food in urban spaces, reducing our environmental footprint and boosting greener lifestyles. Local food production and shorter supply chains lead to more sustainable, inclusive, and diverse agri-food systems, while at the same time reducing waste, using nature's bounty better, and improving city living for everyone. Wouldn't you rather live in a green city? Join the Green Cities Initiative and help shape healthier cities for future generations.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's join our hands together for Green Cities Initiative. As Pani said this morning, again, I would like to repeat, it's the work that we have to do collectively. Let's work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rajendra Ariel. Yeah, we have to do this collectively. That's the message. And we also he also delivered a very interesting data, yeah, that we face a food crisis, but we also face a big number of food waste at the same time, yeah. That's what a paradox we face. And the next speaker, we have Mr. Raditya Endra Budiman as President Director of PD Dharma Jaya. Yeah, the podium is yours, Mr. Raditya. Let's give applause.
Thank you, Prita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Dear Honorable Ibu Sri Haryati, the Assistant to the Provincial Secretary for Economic and Finance of DKI Jakarta, Mr. Rajendra Ariel, FAO Representative in Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Mr. Putut Jagiri, SVP and Head of Corporation Finance Java, and the distinguished guest and investor in today. I think we already spoke about the food security and sustainability of the food, but what is actually the food security? I will take from the FAO. The food security means that the next. The food security as a condition which everyone at all times, both physically and economically, has access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their daily nutritional needs. It's also applied to our law number 18 of 2012, which is longer. Food security is the condition of fulfilling food for the state of individuals, which is reflected in the availability of sufficient food, both in quantity and quality, safe, diverse, nutritious, equitable, and affordable, and does not conflict with religion, belief, and culture of the community, to be able to live healthy, active, and productive in a sustainable manner. So the conclusion of those from FAO and national, we have pillars for food security, 3 pillars for food security: the availability, the accessibility, and the stability. This is the number of the consumption in Jakarta and also national. For example, for beef, chicken, egg, and rice. These 4 commodities which very common in our daily need. Beef, chicken, egg, and rice very high. You can see that for rice, the need for Jakarta is actually 1,038,000 tons per year, and nationally it's 30 million tons, more or less. For beef, per year in Jakarta, say 60,000 tons, and per year for national is 695,000 tons. For chicken, 3,007 tons for Jakarta per year, and also and national is 3,195,000 tons. For egg, 261,000 tons per year, and 5,310,000 tons per year. So it's very high, yeah, considering that our population is also high. Next. So what is the government of Jakarta do about it? We actually have several activities that we already conduct in Jakarta. One, for Dharma Jayas, we have, as Governor said before, that Jakarta is not the producer of the food, but we have to cooperate with the other region. So the provincial cooperation means that the other region can support Jakarta for the supply of the food need in Jakarta. And then the government subsidized food program that's already been explained by Ibu Sri before. And then bazaar and also market operation. Bazaar means that we make sure that everybody in Jakarta can get the access for the reasonable price of meat, rice, chicken, egg, and the other product that people needs. And also the market operation. Market operation is basically only happen if the price is very jump and very high. This market operation also aim to the people who can afford if the price is very high. And then we also have the regional inflation control team, or TPID in Bahasa. This is the guardians of the inflation of Jakarta, because as everybody knows that the national inflation, the Jakarta inflation will affect 20% of the national inflation, if not mistaken. Benar ya, Bu? So the inflation in Jakarta is very important to be maintained, and thank God, and fortunately we have won 5 times, ya Bu, 5 times for the best inflation control in national. That's also because of the government subsidized food program. Next. This is the number of the target for the government's food program. Bu Sri told about 1.1 million. That's true, but the governor also want to increase the target to 1.2 million. This is the people who will not get affected even if the price of the food is getting higher and higher. These people, this member who has the specific card will not be affected with the fluctuation of the price. Okay. And then how we get the product? How we get the product to make sure that that the stock in DKI Jakarta for the people is fulfilled. First, as I explained, for regional cooperation, this regional cooperation also being done by not just Dharma Jaya, but also food station also. As I know, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, Pak Pam, about 8,000 hectares now already been working together with the regional. And also cooperation with BUMN, with Berdikari and Bulog, who has specific item for import. And also BUMD cooperation between BUMD means the local government state-owned company with Flobamor and also from the other region to supply cattle. And also the last, if everything is not enough, then we need to import, then we import from Australia or New Zealand. This is just to make sure that our stock is enough. Okay, to make sure that the people of the DKI Jakarta save from the lack of food, I think the government now already talking about food security, Raperda food security. First, to increase the ability to provide sufficient and independent food, to provide diverse, safe, and nutritious food for consumer, facilitate and improve food access for consumer, increase public knowledge and awareness about safety, improving the welfare of food business actors, protect and develop the wealth and food resources. This is to make sure that the program in province, the DKI Jakarta province, is same with the program conducted by the central government. Okay, now the business part. Those plan will not work. We cannot control the price. We cannot control the stock if we don't have storage. Two kind of storage: the dry storage and also cold storage. Specific for Dharma Jaya, we have planned to build 2 cold storage. One is 5,000 ton capacity, and the other one is 25,000 ton capacity. The aim is to storing the long-term availability of food product, of course, from the agriculture, livestock, and fisheries sector, to reduce harvest losses for local farmer and fishermen due to guaranteed storage space for excess harvest, attractiveness for foreign and local investor to lease, buffer stock food served in Indonesia. This is also to make sure that if anything happen, God forbid, if there is a war or anything, we still have stock for, let's say, 3 months for our own cities.
Pak Raditya, I'm sorry, I have to remind you about
thank you.
time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, just a quick information. The cold storage development project is on a very promising. The growth of cold storage industry is around 12 to 16%. So it's very promising. I think that's all. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Aditya Endra Budiman. Yeah, interesting data that Jakarta contribute 27% of national inflation, yeah, Ibu. And while Jakarta not producing its own food, so that's why the food stock management playing significant role. And about that, in related to that, we also have another CEO of local state-owned enterprise here. We have from food station, Mr. Pam Wirardi. Would you like to stand up so the investor will see you? Yeah, may see you. Mr. Pam Wirardi from food station Jakarta. And also we have Mr. Prasetya from PD Pasar Jaya. Yeah, hello. Yeah. So the investor may see you because Jakarta need more facilities to strengthen food security. Yeah, I'm sorry that we have a very limited times, but I want to ask all the speaker here as your closing statement. You mentioned before that it's very important to strengthen the Jakarta food security, and you mentioned before the collaboration is very important. Collaboration from the private sector, government, national, local, and also many more. So my question to all audience is what we should do to strengthen, or what we can do to strengthen the Jakarta food security. I would like ask Mr. Aditya first to answer that as a closing statement. Do you have difficulties? Yeah, would you like? Yes, okay, yeah. The question is what we can do for strengthening the food security of Jakarta.
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, just like what I explained before, that we need to make sure that the cooperation between the region is being done properly, and we also have to make sure that everything that we get from this region being stored in the safe place, in the place where it can be last longer than usually. So in case of the something happen, that we have stock to be delivered to the people. I think.
Okay, thank you. And next, Mr. Yeah, your turn.
Okay, thank you very much, Brita. Well, I would say that, in the civil sector, for instance, like in the UN, we always talk about collaborating with the private sector. And we know that without collaboration with private sector, food system strengthening would not happen. But sometimes we find speaking different languages when we sit at the table. Because the private sector and ours, I think this is where we need to reduce the gap with the private sector and try to find more common grounds and more collaboration. Because private sectors increasingly, they have money, you have this corporate social responsibility as well. So how we can link our program with the CSR and try to collaborate more.
Thank you, Mr. Rayendra Aryal. And next, Mr. Putut.
Yeah, thank you, Brita. Yeah, of course, from us as a private sector in that running our business in Jakarta, we're trying to make collaboration with all the small businesses. So that's why we're issuing the platform of Java Food Solution. That means we invite all the small business, all the small investor to run the business that related with the food product. So we encourage all these small summit to do with the franchisee, with the partnership that to make a store everywhere in Jakarta, to make all the food is available, is delivered all over Jakarta.
Thank you, Mr. Putut Jagiri. Last but not least, Ibu Sri Haryati.
Thank you. The key is collaboration. We have to sit together, private sector, institution like FAO, and then people as well. And then in terms of the session in investment forum, now we also focus on the stock management. So we still need more facility to storage, like cold storage and also control atmosphere storage. And then another facility, that food security. So we invite all of the investors to come to Jakarta Investment Center to make the food security in Jakarta. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sri Haryati. Yeah, as we heard from the discussion that we face a big challenge, yeah. We have a crisis to come, the food security crisis, yeah. But as an investor, as an entrepreneur, you know that behind every crisis there are many opportunities, right? So I would like to emphasize what Ms. Sri Haryati said before, that let's grab the opportunities, don't miss it, because Jakarta really need more facilities to strengthen its food security. So thank you for the audience once again. Big applause to Ms. Sri Haryati, Pak Putut Jayagiri, Mr. Rajendra Aryal, and Mr. Aditya Endra Budiman. Thank you so much. Would you like to stand up and take a picture together to memorize this event? Thank you. Give your big smile, a smile that will invite the investor to come to Jakarta. Welcoming the investor. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm joining with. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Terima kasih Ibu. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all distinguished panelists. You may return to your seat. And to ladies and gentlemen, audience, for the next thematic discussion is about PPP green investment. This session will be conducted by my friend, the beautiful one, Miss Rahma Alia. But before that, we would like to announce that the coffee break will be served to you. So would you like to stay at your place to continue for the next discussion? Thank you and see you. Bye.